Hi everyone, welcome to Sunny Day Discussions. I am Sunny Day. First, I hope you all had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, and I want to thank everyone who has liked and subscribed to my channel. It's small and fledgling, but it's working. So I wanted to start a new routine of, at the beginning of every video, kind of going over the mass shootings that have occurred since the last video in order to keep that awareness. So on May 27th, there were 4 mass shootings. On the 28th, there were 6, and on the 29th, there were 5. That's insane. It's just insane. So other than that, I wanted to talk about the unhoused crisis that's occurring all over the country. But in this particular instance, I want to talk about Portland, Oregon, the state I'm from. And the fact that I have been ranting to my family, particularly my husband, about the homeless crisis and how seems like it should be easy to solve, just living wages, affordable housing, all of that. Well, Portland's doing something that I had discussed before. My plan, my idea was to take some of these old malls or shopping centers and convert them into temporary housing in order to transition people who are unhoused into more permanent setting. Portland is kind of doing that. They're not reusing current existing buildings, but they are building safe villages and safe rest villages, excuse me, that's what they're called. And what they are is they're a collection of tiny houses in a small community, usually about 50 residents, maybe less. Some of instances it's 15 to 25. And they're there temporarily. They have their own little unit, and it's provided with heating and cooling and locks on the door and a twin bed, and then a communal shower, laundry facilities, kitchen, and bathroom. There is staff that is present 24 hours a day. And so far, it seems to be doing really well. I mean, it's still early, so we don't have all of the statistics yet. But the most recent village that have opened in Portland is the Peninsula Crossing Village, and it has welcomed 67 temporary residents. A California-based nonprofit called Urban Alchemy, which specializes in homeless outreach, is managing the site. Approximately 50% of people who have moved on from the village have found stable housing. The other 50% have moved on to live with relatives, or friends, or entered a treatment facility. And some have ended up back on the streets. It's not 100%. But when you compare that to like a mass tent site, like in LA, there is only a 2% success rate of getting people off of the streets. So the fact that there is such a high rate of people being able to move on successfully is astounding. So the longest running village in Portland was opened in November of 2020, and it has sent 36% of the residents just from that village into their own apartments. And these tiny villages are great to help out people with addiction, because the community itself of the unhoused is so small, and the staff has a larger presence there. So people are able to get that customized help that they need that will get them back on their feet and into permanent housing. By contrast, when you take into account like a homeless shelter or a place that houses over 100 people and they have minimal staff. Everyone is basically lumped together in this category. But not everyone needs the same assistance. Not everyone needs help in the same way. For instance, there's people who have survived domestic violence situations, and being able to move into one of these small villages can give that person, that victim of domestic violence, the confidence to start fresh, to branch out and pursue the life that they deserve. People with addictions, there's a small community of support, and support is the biggest thing that people who have addictions need. They need support, they need understanding and compassion, and that seems to be what this is providing. And like everything, it's not black and white. You know, excuse me, a lot of people think that we either have to fix it all 100% or it just doesn't work. But we can take baby steps. We can step in the right direction and start small. And if that small success rate is known, then more people will try this option and more people will likely succeed. And I don't think this is the cure-all, because there is still the cost of housing issue. There is still the income issue. But it's a step, and it's working in the right direction. And that's good. That is a good thing. That is excellent. And like so many other things, because it's not black and white, it's a complicated issue, there are many different avenues to try, such as the argument that if we ban assault weapons, people are still going to get guns and crime's still going to happen. Yes, that is true, but it will decrease the likelihood and frequency of mass shootings. If you make weapons harder to get, it decreases shootings. If you make help easier to get for addicts, for abusive situations, it helps. Not everyone wants help, not everyone is going to ask for help, and not everyone is going to accept help. But those who need it and want it are open to it and will have a good outcome, a successful outcome. And hopefully other cities will see what Portland is doing and see some of the successes that it's had and implement it in their own communities. Because these little villages eradicate the, I guess, aesthetic decline of homeless encampments. So a lot of the people who were complaining about the homeless encampments were also complaining about these small villages. But I think that's just because it's more how it comes across, how it makes their neighborhood look. Or it's just downright selfishness and wanting to punish the people who are down on their luck. Because not everyone who is homeless is an addict. In fact, most people who are homeless or unsheltered work. They work. They just can't afford to pay first and last month's rent plus deposit at a new place. So we have to be willing to reach out beyond our comfort zone and help people to make this better, to make life better, to make our communities better. And you can't do that by shunning the people who don't look the way you want them to look or live the way you want them to live. You can do that by embracing that community and accepting them and offering the help that is needed. And I think that's great. I think it's great. And we should definitely continue on with this, see how it goes, and hopefully the rates will continue to be good. And I can see that it would be, because if you don't have an address, it's hard to get a bank account. If you don't have a bank account, it's hard to receive paychecks. So this just gives them that little security of having that place that they can, that address that they can list to get that bank account. And then they have that bank account that they can give their employers to receive their paychecks. And I don't see what's wrong with that. It's great. So anyway, that's the end of this video. I'll say it again, vote. Vote for all elections, no matter how small and insignificant they seem, because we need to vote people out who would rather punish the less fortunate than help the less fortunate. So vote. Have a good day, and like, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time.